I'm ready, so whenever you feel.
Okay. All right. Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting of BUHS number 6, October 3rd, 2011, meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. Welcome, everyone. And we're going to start tonight's agenda. I don't see any visitors here to introduce, so we will start tonight's agenda with the nominations and election of board chair. Is there a nomination for board chair?
I'd like to nominate Robert Woodward as board chair.
Is there a second for that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Other nominations?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Ruth Barton.
Okay.
Chair.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Yeah, oh, you got Ricky second. Okay. Other nominations? Okay, is there a move that nominations cease?
I move
So
the
moved.
nominations
Okay.
cease.
Got- Give one the move and one the second.
Who had that? Russ?
Oh, I'll second.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Ruth moved.
Just vote.
No.
I
I do that sometimes.
Okay, all in favor of closing nominations, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Shouldn't be on that, I don't think. Okay, nominations are closed. So we will move on to the election.
Yep. So
Okay.
let's have the ayes in favor of Robert
No
Woodward.
speeches.
You want the platform?
How many are in favor of Bob Woodworth? Signify by saying
Aye.
Aye. 6. And so that
We have somebody missing.
Oh,
8
oh,
members here.
I
Oh,
was
okay.
going to vote for my nominee.
Okay.
but
Yeah.
All right.
If I may.
That's right, David's not.
Not that I was in
obviously.
disfavor.
Oh, right.
So all in
So we're-
favor of Ruth?
Yes.
So it looks like Robert Woodworth is
Well,
Are you
thank
going?
you.
elected
For
as
you?
chair.
What?
Did you vote for you? Or
No, I
for-
didn't.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity. It's a challenge, and hopefully with everyone's help, we can be up to the challenge. I look forward to almost all of the things that go along with this. Can't wait to go to graduation and shake all those hands, and we'll try to do the best, and I appreciate your support, and we'll move forward, and hopefully I can follow in the footsteps of David for a well-organized board along with everybody's help. The next item on the agenda would be to elect a vice chair, since that position has just been recently vacated. Are there nominations for vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Ruth Barton.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay. Mary Ann?
I'd like to nominate Ricky Davidson.
Okay. Second?
I'll second that.
Scott? Further nominations? Okay, is there a motion that nominations cease?
So moved.
Ricky, second? Second. Ian? Okay. All in favor of closing nominations, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None? Any abstentions to that? None. Okay. Then, all in favor of Ruth as vice chair, please signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Ricky?
Aye.
Okay. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so let's see those. For Ruth, I saw 2. Yeah. And then for Ricky?
Oh.
2. 4. Okay.
So we have a runoff election?
Ricky has 4 votes to Ruth's 2.
There's only 6 of us.
So then we have abstentions, right?
There's 8, Ruth and I didn't vote.
There's 8.
Oh,
There's 2
okay.
people.
Oh,
That's right. You got 2
So
abstentions.
majority
Yeah.
Ricky would have
Okay. And hopefully, Ruth will continue as valued clerk, checking those minutes over. Is, that's important. Okay. Now, we need to move on to nomination and election of the WSESU voting member. This would be replacing David on the WSESU. And,
Could I just make a comment about that? So our current voting members are Ruth and Russ. And David, as chair, was the voting member. Doesn't have to be the chair, but sometimes there's that type of continuity that is helpful in terms of on the WSESU board. And realize that if somebody is selected as a voting member and cannot attend a meeting, then we can get a replacement from meeting to meeting. And that helps out quite a bit. So,
Okay.
nominations?
Bob, would you do it? Would you be able to do it?
I would, yes, I should be able to.
Then I nominate Bob Woodworth as the voting member for the WSCSU.
I'll second that.
Okay. Other nominations? Okay. Guess we'll make a move to cease nominations.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
And we'll give this one to Scott.
No, okay.
Okay. All in favor of ceasing nominations signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Okay. Nominations are closed. Then I guess there would be election by affirmation, right?
Yes. Nice job.
Unless somebody runs in at the last
Unless
minute.
we all abstain. And then I have the right to vote by statute. No.
It's probably in that thick book that you gave me the other day there that I haven't memorized yet.
Yeah, I'll vote.
Yeah. Okay. Now, we also have to make a couple of, at least one committee appointment with David's leaving. We have a vacancy on finance.
Right, and the current membership on BUHS Finance is Ruth, Scott Henry, and Bob Woodworth. So we would like to have at least one more person.
And this actually would be an appointment, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. We talked about it before, threw it out there to see what interest there was. Do we have somebody who has interest in joining the August Finance Committee? Mary Ann?
Interest.
Okay.
I'd be willing as well, but I'm perfectly fine with Mary Ann doing it.
Jim Kane advises that it would be good if we had 2 more members.
Okay.
We can do it with 4, but
Yeah.
5 would be good. So,
Yeah, and it's been 4 for a while, and I thought that we really ought to have 5.
Me too.
That way, three's a quorum.
Right, it was 4 and 4 or, right.
Yeah, not that we were
I think there
generally
was a
evenly
fifth
divided,
member,
but
but,
it took more to make a quorum, so now it still takes 3 to make a quorum. Okay,
And then there's
well,
always, there presumably will be another Brattleboro member at some point, and so that we can, when that person
Yeah.
appears, we can
Right.
make other decisions.
Okay, so, Finance Committee will, us, Mary Ann. You know we meet at dark 30 in the morning, the first and third Wednesdays generally, and
7:45.
7:45, yes. That's subject to a slight revision, I guess, depending on what people's interests are. Some of us have children to get to school at the new 8:45 hour. Okay, so we have a full finance committee, and we also, that take care of it. I think
It really does,
David-
because you were going to be on the association committee as David transitioned off, so that had
Right.
already been established. I think everything else is set.
and
And we're full up
the
on
my
bands.
classified position then.
Yeah, Ricky is on
Yeah.
the classified
Okay.
negotiation.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
So I think we're all set. The only thing I would add is, I mentioned this to Bob earlier, under the voting members, or for the, the voting members, and then the SU Finance Committee, generally, the board chair has been part of that. Russ Janis is the member for BUHS on the SU Finance Committee, and that would remain the same way. I would just ask that Bob Woodworth be part of the finance and evaluation process when my contract is up. I think it's helpful when we have the board chairs as part of that process. So that's not going to happen for 2 years, so he'll get his feet wet a little bit before that.
Okay. Could we have a fresh copy
Yes,
of
yep.
that
We will.
at some point? Would be appreciated so we can keep everything straight. Okay. Next item of business is the clerk's report. And tonight, we need to vote approval of the minutes of September 6th. Has everyone had a chance to review those? Are there any additions, correction? Well, first, I guess I should have a move to approve.
Move that we approve the minutes of September
Okay.
6th.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes of September 6th? If not, we're ready to vote. All in favor of approving the minutes of September 6, 2011, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, they are approved. The minutes of September 19th are being finalized, and those should be around very soon, and we will approve them at our next meeting. Are there any communications? Okay, is there anything else for the clerk's report? Okay, do we need to vote to accept the clerk's report, or just the consent agenda? Okay. All right. Recognition of groups or individual visitors. I don't see any visitors out there, so we'll move on to consent agenda. Is there a motion to clear consent agenda?
So,
Second.
Scott and Ricky. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Abstentions? None? Okay, we'll move into consent agenda. Finance Committee. I will bring you up to date on that. A lot of talking from me tonight. We met on September 21st, and we approved warrants numbers 1044, 1046, and 1050 through 1054 in the amount of $491,930.59. There were no payrolls for approval. We approved, or blessed, I guess, a $7,000 project that is within our budget that Robert Clark had brought to us regarding the air conditioning. There's one of the computer rooms that was being fried by the heat, and so they needed to do some work in there. It is within our budget. It doesn't require approval of any extra funds, but he reviewed that with us, or he did, Jim did, and he okayed that. And we, again, talked very briefly about our capital plan that we hope to put in place here as we get into the next budgeting cycle. We would anticipate that probably realistically we'll try to do about a 5-year plan, kind of a rolling plan, and each year you add one on, take the last one off. And our next meeting will be October 5th, which is this Wednesday, 7:45 in the central office. And we will have as a guest Andy Rome from Wells Fargo, who who is the manager for about one half of the Eames Fund. We get a report periodically on how things are going there, and it's time to hear from Andy on that half. So he'll be joining us on Wednesday morning. I believe that's it for finance. Planning and policy.
Planning and policy met today. We discussed and reviewed several policies that we will be presenting for first read for our next meeting. Continued discussions of some that aren't quite at that point yet.
Okay. That it for planning and policy?
That's it for planning and policy.
Okay. How about teacher curriculum committee?
We met earlier this evening. We got 2 presentations from the math department related to 1% funds that we approved from last year. So we had one presentation from Michelle Page and Natasha Jones related to kneecap questions to do for the whole math department, so that they're presented with a problem and just kind of keep the kids familiar with some of the kneecap questioning, how the wording's done, kind of get it so that they're not so panicked about taking those tests, and keep up to date on things when they're not doing those kinds of things. So doing some algebra problems when they're taking geometry and that kind of stuff, so that they're keeping fresh for the kneecaps. And then we also had a presentation from Seth Hoskins, I almost called it something different, Seth Hoskins, related to the statistics class that's now also a collegiate dual enrollment course, how he created that course, and we went over some of the syllabi and some lesson plans related to that and the process that's gone through. So it's a really nice presentation aside from the math department. And we got to go to their class, to go to a classroom and actually sat in a classroom and did it that way, as opposed to them coming to us, which was a nice change too.
Great idea. Thank you.
It's a collegiate dual what?
Dual enrollment
Dual
for the
enrollment.
collegiate high school.
Yeah, we refer to it as the collegiate high school course. And are there, it's gonna be what, 30 students?
21 in that class.
Semester, and then scheduled.
Right, yeah, there's 24
24
scheduled for next semester.
Yeah. So we have over 40 students enrolled in that math class for college credit.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting.
Thank you, Ricky. And while you're on a roll, want to move on to BAMS?
Yeah, we met this morning, and we got an update because kneecaps are also getting ready to take off in at BAMS starting this week. So we went through sort of what the kickoff is going to look like and what the process is going to look like for the kneecap testing in BAMS, and some of the incentives. And I don't want to take any of Ingrid's steam on that. So we talked about those things, which was good. We also got some information related to the BEAMS program and a babysitting course that they held with the Red Cross this weekend, where a large number of students, 16 students, were here taking a course on a Saturday in the middle school, which was great. And then also we started budgetary discussions and where Ingrid's at with that in preparation for budget process. So, productive meeting this morning.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
WRCC has not met since the last meeting, but we're going to have a meeting in October at some point. We have it scheduled, I think. Or
I think
not?
we
Still
figured out,
working.
we're figuring out sometimes. So.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So last I saw emails going around as to what might work. Okay. Are there any other committee reports? I think not. Okay. So we need to approve consent agenda. Correct? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Abstentions? None. Consent agenda is approved. And we move on to administrative reports. Okay. How about if we start in the middle tonight?
Oh.
Well, that's fitting.
In
Brattleboro
the
area
middle
middle
area.
school.
BAMS, yes.
BAMS. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
The middle will never change.
By the way, the board meetings aren't typically talked about in my building too much until the last.
Well, it's good.
Even my
Little
kids, somehow, they must have been watching Channel 8. They were very upset. Hard for me to keep a straight face with them. So Ricky mentioned our kneecap season. It's here, and as it is, I know, elsewhere. Today we had a pep rally in our gym, last period of the day. It was really loud. If you might have heard it over in your office, it was possible. Our band played and our cheerleaders cheered the kneecap cheer, and we had a very inspirational speech delivered by one of our teachers.
I'd like to know what that is. Staff cheer.
We'd like to see the kneecap cheer.
Yes.
Well, through the Beams program, we have a cheerleading group now, and that was their first order of business, was to learn to cheer around kneecaps, and they presented to. They were very cute, very, very cute. And we launched our incentive program, which we did as well last year, and it seems like each year we're getting a little better at it, but we now have BAM's bucks in the school. Each one is worth $1. And Norm Whittle designed them. They're amazing. We have to be careful because they just look like the real thing. The thing they're on lavender paper.
Great. You're showing up at Walgreens.
And President Hu was showing up? I forget who that was.
I don't want to even mention that. He put a picture on the dollar, which I didn't know he was planning to do. Anyway, kids are going to be able to earn these bucks for positive behaviors. It's part of our PBIS positive behavior program as well. And we have a variety of items that they'll be able to purchase through our school store, as well as other ways, including taking a ride on my scooter. That's going out for the cost of 15 BAM's bucks. And so today I trained a student to use the scooter so that during the assembly he came out on this scooter. If you could have seen him. Just happened to have I had nothing to do with it.
I had my paper from this morning, so a copy of the BAM's buck is going around.
Yeah, we want to get it for the camera later.
Very diplomatic picture, though.
So
Wonderful.
we're off to we expect to be a very good kneecap season. The kids are really pumped. They are truly. And the one thing I want the board to know, Cafe Services is donating breakfast for all of our kids for the 4 days of testing. A bag breakfast, bagel, cream cheese, apple, and milk every morning for our entire student body. So this afternoon, about a dozen of us wrapped in stuffed bags. We prepared 300 bags for tomorrow morning. But it was just extremely generous of John Ayer, the new manager, to offer to do that. It's wonderful.
Very nice. All set? Thank you, Ingrid. Dave?
Fairly quiet. We continue to have a smooth opening, which is good 3 weeks into this year. The main news coming up is we will be having our first program advisory board meetings. These are meetings where local business people meet with our instructors, and the instructors kind of talk about what's going on in the programs, and the business people kind of give them feedback on that, and also help us to modify the programs to make sure that we're keeping up to industry standards. Those meetings will be held October 19th, 5:30 to 7:30, and certainly if anybody here on the board would like to come into those, give a holler and we'll make sure you've got a seat. There'll be a light dinner served that evening. So, thank you.
Thank you. And then we move on to Mr. Perrin.
We have a lot going on. I do have copies of the newsletter to share with the board members who don't get it mailed home. And it's very straightforward. A lot of good pictures of our new staff and a lot of information about the beginning of the year as well. We are also starting kneecaps tomorrow. We didn't have BAM's bucks to buy breakfast, but that's okay. Ours are going to be tomorrow, the 6th and the 11th, blocks 1 and 2. And our proctors are ready to as we always do, we've talked to our teachers about being considerate of those kids who may have classes canceled or who maybe can leave class to take their handicap exams. And as Ricky pointed out, the math department has really this year stepped up and really tried to help prepare our kids for the exams. Next week we also have 16 German students arriving with their German teacher Katrine Boehm, and they'll be here for 16 days, and they'll be at the high school for many of those days. They're also going to the Clark Museum. They're going to Sturbridge Village to see a piece of Americana. They're going to carve a couple of pumpkins, and they're also doing a scavenger hunt of downtown Brattleboro. And I think every merchant is on that list, so if somebody comes in and they're speaking German, they may need help translating what they need from you. So there's a scavenger hunt in the works there. We had our in-service day last week, and the whole BUHS staff, we continued our discussion on core values and establishing our core values as a school. That discussion went really well. We're not ready to share that document yet, but what we've done is we've gotten to 4 areas having to do with respect, responsibility, accountability, and communication. And one of the great themes that came out of that from several people was that respect needs to be mutual and go both ways within our school. And that was nice to hear a lot of staff members say. Along with that, we began drafting our 21st century goals, and that's another piece that we need for the NEASC report, and that self-study begins in January. We're hoping next week to actually work with advisories to get their sense of core values and what the students look at as their core values, and later on we'll be looking for a parent advisory group to help us with their perception as well. But it was pretty interesting to hear what the staff had to say. I'm excited to hear what the students say. We talked about using student council or another group, but the faculty overwhelmingly asked that we do every advisory in the building and get their sense. So, homecoming is this week. We're having a pep rally on Friday. I don't know how that's going to go. I think it's going to be great. They have asked the administrative team to do a cheer, so hopefully that won't be filmed. I am working on my Macarena skills, though. We have a full slate of games associated with that this weekend, and something new that we're doing on Saturday night. We're having a Colonel's Pride dinner that the Booster Club is sponsoring, and that's at 6 o'clock in the BUHS Gymnasium. And tickets are available here, also at Baker's and at Burroughs. So feel free to join us for that event as well. And late next week, Thursday and Friday, we're going to have our fall play, Comedy of Errors, which I hope doesn't pass for the pep rally. And that will be at 7 o'clock both nights in the auditorium. And lastly, parent conferences on the 13th. We're going to have a half day next Thursday, and all of our buses are going to run at the regular time, or an approximation of that. And the Guilford buses are going to roll at 12:30. I've confirmed that with John Gagnon in Guilford. So they're going to leave at 12:30. Class is dismissed at 12:20. So.
But the regular time, so the kids won't be leaving till 3:30?
Right. What we generally do is the buses don't leave until the regular time on a half day. Guilford,
Okay.
they send their buses earlier though. So.
And that allows BMs to have a full day of transportation.
Did you say, Steve, Thursday and Friday, or Friday and Saturday on the play?
The 14th and the 15th.
Okay, Friday and Saturday.
Friday, Saturday.
And you didn't want to mention your advisory challenge.
Oh, I should. So we had an article in the Reformer about our new Dean of Students, Kate Margaitis, who has a basketball background. And there's a nice picture there. And some of my students said they'd never met her. And I kind of gave some background and talked about her basketball background. She played at Clinton State, coached at Keene State. And these two gentlemen in advisory began to talk trash, as they say. So we had her come down to the advisory, and she challenged them to a 3-point tournament. And so last Friday, we had a 3-point tournament in the gymnasium, which we broadcast over BCTV and throughout the school. And she won pretty easily. But then the interesting part was the two students that lost to Ms. Margaitis actually had a 2-on-2 game against our new PE teacher, Matt Mills, and Dr. Staley. And I'm proud to report that Dr. Staley actually has a buzzer beater that as the bell rang, he's sunk.
He's leaving out a few key.
I'm only leaving out one detail.
I got roped into his advisory when this challenge was being given. And so there was a thought like, well, what are we going to do with the losers? So Steve and I volunteered that we would play the losers. So I show up, you know, in my gym regalia, and Steve's in his tie and loafers and whatever. I said, so what are you doing? You ready to play? He says, oh, no, I can't play this. And so he was supposed to get Chris Day as his designee. And so I said, so where's Chris? Oh, I don't know, it's working. So I see Matt Mills, as you can see his picture in the newsletter, and I gave Matt just a 30-second heads up. I said, if these guys lose, we have to play them. And I said, if they win, then you have to play Kate Margaitis, because I'm out of it. So the boys lost, and then we followed up.
That's true. So they lost twice.
They lost.
Were there any flagrant fouls called?
Oh, no. It's clean.
Oh, it's clean.
My elbows were working.
For sure.
Who was reffing?
That's a good question. Who was refereeing?
Really the whole BUHS community watching on TV. They were, there'd been a foul, we would have heard it from somebody.
Yeah, we have to give those boys another challenge.
Yes.
A chance for them
Right.
to make up.
So, and Gary Blomgren and the TV studio, they came down and actually did a live broadcast. And so the whole thing went out to the school, which is nice to see.
Absolutely.
Hey. Thank you. We look forward to having student council reps join us in the not too distant future, because we always enjoy hearing what's going on from their perspective. I have nothing as board chair. Nothing has developed in the last half hour. Central office.
Yeah, I just have a couple of things. Just a reminder that we do have the SU meeting, the WSCSU meeting Thursday, this Thursday the 6th at Oak Grove. So that's at 6:45 p.m. And so again, that would be Ruth, Russ, and Bob. So hopefully you can all remake that. We will have a light meal at 6:45 to begin the meeting. So, and just another thing to report, Steve, Dave, and I, with a few other people, a couple of students I think will be included, we're meeting with the Department of Ed representatives this Friday. And they're very interested. They're doing a research project on flexible high school programming. And John Fisher, who is the secondary ed contact with the Department of Ed, has been very helpful with us as we've developed the dual enrollment program, the collegiate high school program. And essentially what I think they're doing is looking at programs like ours and trying to determine what's successful about it, what allows for success, but also what impediments are out there to prevent us from becoming successful, including funding and some statewide policies that they know need to change. And I think what they're trying to do is at least see 3 pilot programs throughout the state, including ours, and put this report together for the legislature that has commissioned this report. So I feel good that they're coming down to meet with us. We'll have a chance to talk with them about the success of the program, but also some of the limits that we see. And hopefully in this legislative session, some of the changes could happen. 3 areas that they're really looking at would be in terms of flexible high school programming, dual credit options, where students are in high school getting college credit, like the dual credit that we offer. Virtual learning, online learning through accredited agencies. In some cases, there are some drawbacks in Vermont related to distance learning. And then work-based and community-based work for students, apprenticeships, internships, and that sort of thing. So we will give you a report as they finalize their findings. and I think hopefully will help us expand our programming.
Thank you. There was one thing, I guess, that I'd like to mention, did not under my own report. Recently, the state of Vermont officially sent in their request for the waiver for No Child Left Behind. I pulled it off the web, and it's actually interesting, and it's Governor Shumlin's letter with a bunch of backup. So I'm not very capable of emailing things. I can't remember where I found it, but I have a copy. I have a written copy of it, and it is out, and it's a pretty well put together package, I think, and it's interesting. Maybe you have.
Yeah, I believe the DOE team is down. They started at the end of last week, and they're still down in Washington trying to make the case for this waiver, and it makes a lot of sense. So hopefully we'll hear some good news about that. And if anybody would like it, I can forward it to you.
It's the Vermont State School Board Association sent it out.
Oh, that's right.
And
It's on that
it's
website.
I'm sure it's on their website.
Thank you, Ruth. I couldn't remember where I saw it.
Once,
Sometimes
I also part of it online.
so many emails. So, yeah. Okay.
Just a question that I imagine a lot of us have been getting questions about is busing. What's the status on buses?
Well, we have added a bus. One of the issues is finding a consistent driver for the bus to add to the VUHS routes. And the times are getting better in the morning. The afternoon with the additional bus and driver are getting better, but it's still inconsistent. And so we're working every day with first students to get it right.
Any idea what went wrong in the first place? Why there've been such a hard time? And
I think the storm is still, I mean, we're a long way from the storm, but I'll tell you, Weston Avenue is still a mess. That doesn't account for all of the issues, but that doesn't help. And I think the lack of resources. I think with the additional bus and a consistent driver, and just identifying which routes have been consolidated has helped, but we need to be more consistent with that.
do we have to slacken the budget? Or are we just going to have to cut back on everything? Oh, with an extra bus or something?
That would come under the contract to
Yeah.
provide service.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, I guess that is it for reports. I think everybody's been heard from. Is there any unfinished business? I don't believe we have any policies at this point. We will at the next meeting to review. Any new business? Okay. I guess if there is none unfinished and new business, we would accept a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay. Ruth, Ian. All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you very much. Our next meeting will be on the 17th of October, Monday the 17th. And we will soon start budgeting season. What's that? Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Take this over there.
That's nice.
Budget is first and third Wednesday, is that it?
Finance meeting? That I use.
Well,
Usually the Wednesday after the board meeting.
usually right after the board meeting, so, yeah, it could be,
Could be the second.
yeah.
Oh.
Could be the second.
Could be the second Wednesday, right.
It could be.
Twice a month.
If